As Lake Powell is on the brink of crisis, a plan to use another Utah reservoir to protect it is already underway.
From my viewpoint, we always knew that this could happen.
Water levels dropping at the Flaming Gorge, impacting businesses who are trying to stay afloat.
A nice start to the week, but by tomorrow, our wind is going to start picking up here in Utah, already breezy into Nevada. I'll let you know what you can expect for a stronger storm with the timing and impacts.
A Utah police officer puts his life on the line to save others from yet another wrong-way driver. The incredible video you'll only see right here.
Hollywood directors and actors flew here to Salt Lake City tonight for the red carpet premiere of a new TV show. Hear from Andrew Garfield about what it was like being the lead role in this new series.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts
We are
right
not
now.
draining Flaming Gorge. We are still going to have a great season up here.
A recent announcement to release 500,000 acre-feet of water from Flaming Gorge Reservoir to protect Lake Powell is scheduled to start within a week.
And Bob, near both bodies of water, you'll find communities that depend on that water, and not just for agriculture and daily needs, but for tourism as well.
Fox 13 News reporter Brian Schnee spoke with businesses in Daggett County after record years for visitations during the pandemic.
Water is pretty important to what we do.
Flaming Gorge spans nearly 90 miles across Utah and Wyoming, and the water is a big reason why people come to visit.
Besides anglers, we are a huge destination for the Wasatch Front.
Mark Wilson has owned Red Canyon Lodge in Daggett County for 3 decades. A popular spot to stay in the Ashley National Forest. But if you wanted to book for this upcoming summer, no vacancy. You'll have to wait until summer 2023.
We're kind of proud that our closest stoplight is 40 miles away. Our traffic is wildlife, and we're not overrun. And we love that, and we want visitors to know that.
Wilson is one of many business owners in the area that closely monitor the ongoing conversation about water levels in the Flaming Gorge and Green River. Both are a major tourism draw to the area.
From my viewpoint, we always knew that this could happen.
Jerry Taylor and his family have owned Lucerne Valley Marina on the Flaming Gorge since 1965.
We've been enjoying a lot of years of high water at Flaming Gorge, and now we're looking at a different operation here.
With the projected release of 500,000 acre-feet from Flaming Gorge Dam over the next year, Taylor is most concerned about the fisheries.
We're going to end up at a level about where we were at in '02, which is the last drawdown we had.
He says the marinas in the gorge will have to make some adjustments with their docks.
Despite water levels lowering, businesses are not expecting a major change this summer. It's the years ahead that are most concerning.
We're not quite ready to hit the panic button yet and say that, we should jump up and down and hold our breath, but it's concerning that what the long-term effects will be.
Woody Bear at Flaming Gorge Resort says visitors come from all over the country, and a big reason why is the water.
How much water can we let out to really make a difference downstream? Because of course we care about our neighbors, but we want to make sure that, we're protected.
Bear says the release also comes as a positive, not just for Lake Powell, but for anglers on the renowned Green River.
We're hopeful that people will still want to recreate.
In Daggett County,
we still are going to be in better water shape than almost anywhere else in the West.
Brian Schnee, Fox 13 News, Utah.
A gorgeous day today. Blue skies, mild temperatures. Allison, will they stick around?
Well, we'll have tomorrow more mild temperatures. It'll actually be a little bit warmer tomorrow, but we're going to see additional clouds tomorrow, so it's still not going to be perfect. 57 for Salt Lake, 54 for Ogden right now. Temperatures across the board, almost all of us are currently in the 50s. So it's a really nice evening, a little on the cool side for our overnight temps. Those will drop into the 40s. It's still in the 70s, though, for St. George, and we do have mostly clear sky across most of Utah, but overnight, we'll have partly cloudy skies, so 53 degrees at 10 p.m. By 8 a.m., close to 50 degrees. We will briefly drop into the 40s tonight, but we're going to have a lot of clouds into tomorrow at lunchtime. 65 degrees tomorrow at noon here in Salt Lake City. And then for daytime highs tomorrow, that'll be in the mid to low 70s with cloudy sky, breezy conditions, 10 to 20 miles per hour. I'm tracking a couple of weak storms. I'll let you know when and the impacts.
Now to a Fox 13 News exclusive. We are seeing the moment a Kaysville police officer stopped a wrong-way driver on I-15 in the early morning hours of April 15th. You got to watch this. You hear the impact there. Officer Calavai de los Santos had only seconds to intervene and stop this driver from getting off the freeway. Police say the driver was going as fast as 82 miles an hour in the HOV lane. And the night this happened was the one-year anniversary of Officer de los Santos's graduating from the police academy and the first time he had to ram into another vehicle.
In the middle of this thought process, he's got to wonder, like, am I willing to risk my own life to save somebody else's? And that's exactly what he did. He was willing to put his life on the line to make sure that everyone else was going to go home safe that night.
The wrong-way driver's blood alcohol content was at least 4 times the legal limit. He was arrested. Some of Hollywood's biggest stars are in Utah tonight for the red carpet screening of what's expected to be a very controversial TV show.
The series, based on a best-selling book, retells the events of a notorious murder in Utah County. Brenda Wright Lafferty and her baby daughter Erica were killed in 1984 by Brenda's brother-in-laws Ron and Dan Lafferty. The brothers claim they were commanded by God to do it. Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser spoke to the show's creator and actor Andrew Garfield about the intention behind the series.
Academy Award-winning directors and actors flew here to downtown Salt Lake City tonight for the premiere of the new series Under the Banner of Heaven, inspired by Jon Krakauer's best-selling novel. The American Fork murders that shook the Utah Valley community back in 1984 are being told in a new FX series. The creators and stars behind the show visited the state where it happened ahead of the premiere this Thursday.
This show is very much a warning not to step back into fundamentalism. It is a cautionary tale about what happens if you follow outdated rules. It can lead to bloodshed and harm.
That's Dustin Lance Black, creator of the show. He grew up in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and says this show is all to honor Brenda Wright Lafferty and her baby girl, Erica.
They trusted me with her letters, with her journals, and so much of what you're going to see in this show comes right from her voice, words she wrote.
Academy Award nominee Andrew Garfield plays the role of Detective Jeb Pyre, who investigates the murders and questions his faith.
I think it's vital, and I think a life of faith is actually a life of doubt. I think a life of certainty is not a life of faith.
Avatar star Sam Worthington plays the role of murderer Ron Lafferty.
Our job is to portray it as truthfully as possible, allow the writing to kind of foreshadow the terrible event that happened, and hopefully, as I said, handle it with some grace.
Former and active LDS members joined the crew as consultants, including local Utahn Lindsay Hansen Park, who studies fundamentalist sects of the church. She said representation in the show was important to her.
I really hope the show is an opportunity for Mormons to show us who they are, show the world who they are, that they can handle hard discussions, that we can handle truth, and look at the shadow sides of our faith and confront them head on.
The 7-episode series will premiere exclusively on Hulu. You can watch the first 2 episodes on April 28th and the rest on a weekly basis. Now, I reached out to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for a comment about this new show and have yet to hear back. Reporting in downtown Salt Lake, Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Of course, there are still those who remember the Lafferty brothers from their years growing up in Payson.
Randy Ellsworth was close friends with Dan Lafferty from the 5th grade and spent a lot of time with him until the two became missionaries together for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints on the same day. When they came home, Dan went to chiropractor school and Randy went into radiology. In fact, after the murders, Dan was ordered to have an MRI as part of his evaluation, and it was Randy who performed the scan.
Dan and I went into the scan room by ourselves, and we looked at each other, and I just said, Dan, I just wish that we weren't meeting again under these circumstances. And he just looked at me and goes, well, this was my idea. You know, and then I knew that there was something, Dan, who was not in there behind those eyes.
Randy says he also performed the CT scan on Ron Lafferty, who greeted Randy like an old friend and asked how his family was doing. Randy continues to wonder what went wrong.
4 are dead after a plane crash in Cedar City over the weekend. Today, Fox 13 News spoke with their family, who is moving forward any way they can.
We were just slammed, just hit so hard.
Caught on camera, a UDOT truck crashes into another vehicle on I-15. Tonight, why police are giving this case a second look.
Like, I'm finally getting out and I can be authentic.
And during one of the biggest moments of her life, a BYU grad shows her true colors. The message she wanted to share with other LGBTQ students.
The NFL draft is this week. Coming up, Kyle Whittingham will tell us about Devin Lloyd's rise to becoming an NFL draft pick.
Tonight, a Utah family is grieving after losing 2 brothers, a sister-in-law, and a friend Saturday afternoon.
Fox 13 News reporter Spencer Joseph spoke with their family after the devastating crash.
The 4 were coming from seeing their 3rd brother, who lives in Cedar City. It was only 4 minutes into the flight when the crash happened, and now the family is doing what they can to carry on.
Obviously, when we first heard, it was shocking and super emotional.
On Saturday afternoon, a group of 4 took off from the Spanish Fork Municipal Airport. Stephen Edgel, his wife Lindsay, his brother Thomas, and their friend Danielle flew to Cedar City to see Tom and Stephen's brother. Shortly after taking off to return, radar contact was lost and the plane crashed, killing all on board.
My brother Tom, when I found out he was gone, I mean, my first thought was to call him and ask him what I should do.
Their sister and brother-in-law speaking out about how difficult this has been.
And Stephen was always basically my therapist, so it's hard for me because I feel like I should call him too and vent to him about all this.
Stephen, a Utah County Sheriff's deputy, and wife Lindsay, also leaving behind 4 kids.
One of the hardest conversations we had was the next morning when we had to tell all of Stephen's kids that their parents weren't really around anymore. And we just kind of talked to them a little bit about, you know, it's okay to not be okay.
This was the last photo Angela sent mom and dad, Stephen and Lauren. She says Stephen thought the photo was cute. Lindsay replied with the laughing emoji. That was the last contact they had before the crash. Another photo texted to their other brother shows Stephen and Lauren flying the plane, heading down to Cedar City. The 2 brothers were known to be the family support system.
All they wanted to do was help other people. I mean, that's the reason why Stephen went into the police force. We always reached out to him when we were having a tough time with our kids or work or family or whatever.
He was a family's man. He wanted to help everybody.
Tom was just always a phone call away and was just always willing to help.
Yeah, Tommy always wanted to make enough money to help everybody else.
While it hasn't been easy, the pair says there have been so many who have offered help.
Everyone's reached out to us. Everyone has, brought in kind words.
And as they grieve, their family is holding each other tightly and remembering those that held them together.
We're starting to just, realize our time is short together. And
investigators with the National Transportation Safety Board and Federal Aviation Administration are now in Cedar City to investigate the cause of the crash, but no word yet on what brought the plane down. In studio, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
But today, cleanup crews had a heck of a time after a moving semi collided with a parked semi. Salt Lake City police say it happened in the area of 25th West and 700 South around 1 p.m. Michael Cummings with Inland Express says he saw the moving semi swerve, striking the side of another semi, ripping it open and spilling yogurt all onto the road. Cummings says both drivers are lucky to be alive.
Luckily, my driver was inside carrier getting checked in. The other driver of the other vehicle didn't have any injuries. So, I mean, it's lucky.
Police say they are not investigating the crash any further. Cummings says his truck is a total loss.
The Division of Wildlife Resources is auctioning off antlers that were obtained illegally. The DWR says the antlers are being sold by the lot, with some of them still attached to the skull of the animal it came from. The majority of antlers come from deer and elk, which are protected wildlife. The DWR says because the animals are protected wildlife, people cannot just take their antlers.
If they fall off naturally and are sheds, they can possess them that way, but most of these, is if you get a chance to look at them, are sawed off from the skull, and these are illegal for people to possess unless they go through this process.
The auction is being held online until tomorrow. To take part, go to tntauction.com. All items must be paid for and removed from the Lee K Public Shooting Range facility grounds by 7 p.m. tomorrow.
Well, it was a nice Monday to start the week today, but tomorrow is going to be even warmer and cloudier. Beautiful sunset tonight from Heber City. Thanks so much to Ryan for posting this in our Facebook group. Salt Lake City right now, it's 57 degrees, and it still feels like that 57 with just some light wind right now, but once you're over 50, wind chill never really gets taken into account. So what we're tracking for you tonight will be temperatures mainly around 45 to 50 for your overnight lows. So getting ready for bed right now, many of us are in the 50s. You could crack that window just a little bit, get some fresh air in the house. But what I'm watching for you on satellite and radar here out west is clouds up near the Idaho border. We're going to have a couple of weak storms passing through the next couple of days, and we'll see some chances for some isolated areas of rain, and then that'll make way for a stronger storm Thursday night into Friday as a possibility for northern Utah. But for tonight, just increasing clouds. You'll have partly cloudy sky for much of the evening here across the Wasatch Front. And then as we look at the wind into tomorrow afternoon, I wanted to go ahead and pause this for you at 4 o'clock tomorrow just to show you almost all of the state is highlighted in yellow. What that means is we could see some wind gusts around 25 to 35 miles per hour. And for a few areas along our ridge tops, we could see some wind gusts closer to 35 to 45 miles per hour. Then things will get calmer Wednesday morning, and by Wednesday afternoon, it'll still be a little breezy. So on and off breeze over the next few days. Tomorrow morning here in Salt Lake City, right around 45 when you first wake up, and then close to 60 degrees by 10 a.m., 11 a.m. into tomorrow. Lunchtime tomorrow, mid-60s. But overnight temps at 6 a.m. for pretty much all of Utah, we're looking at about 35 to 45 degrees. So it'll be a cool start tomorrow, absolutely. But for highs tomorrow, look at this, 73 degrees with more clouds than today, and our wind will be out of the south about 10 to 20 miles per hour. So tomorrow, pausing this at 4 p.m. for you, just to give you a better idea of what we'll be dealing with when the kids are out of school and we're winding down our work days. It'll be about 70 to 75 for Provo, Eagle Mountain, Tooele, Salt Lake, and for Ogden. We're also going to see the chance for some isolated areas of rain here in Salt Lake City. So our chance of precipitation over the next week will be going up exponentially Thursday night and Friday day. That's definitely our best chance for widespread rain here in Salt Lake City. Beyond that, we're looking at isolated chances. For St. George, you're in the 80s, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday is going to be your windiest day. We're going to have some fire concerns across the region. A nice weekend near 80 with mostly sunny sky. For the Wasatch Front, we're in the 70s Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. By Friday, 54 degrees for a high. So we're going to be noticeably cooler as we start the weekend. And then by Saturday and Sunday, we're looking at temperatures into the 60s.
Twitter will soon have a new owner. What Elon Musk says he is going to do to the social media platform to make it easier for everyone to share their personal opinions and thoughts.
That's American Towers behind me in downtown Salt Lake City, built in 1981, the first 300-foot residential tower in Salt Lake City. Since then, there have been only 2 others opened, but that's about to change in a big way. We'll show you.
If you've spent any time in downtown Salt Lake City lately, you've seen the construction of tall buildings on just about every block.
Definitely noticeable. It is a building boom with a theme that will make Utah's biggest urban center an entirely different place. Fox 13 News anchor Max Roth takes an in-depth look.
In 1981, this photo shows construction of Utah's first residential tower topping 300 feet, American Towers South, soon to have an identical sister, Tower North. By 2020, Salt Lake City had 12 skyscrapers reaching higher than 300 feet, but just one more was residential. 99 West on South Temple, part of the City Creek Center, joined American Towers, all three buildings condominium towers. Now, Salt Lake City's building boom is bringing something new. City dwellers in a big way, but not condo owners. Thousands of new apartments, including hundreds in two high-end apartment towers, soon to join that 300-plus club on the skyline. The Astra Tower will top out at 400 feet, 39 stories with 377 apartments. And at 200 East and 300 South, a 335-foot apartment tower, 31 stories, 359 apartments. And aside from mega towers, the Downtown Alliance is tracking 10 other projects, adding 1,957 more apartments to Salt Lake City's downtown.
So the Hyatt Hotel behind me, the first hotel in Salt Lake City to rise over 300 feet. Those first 6 floors are going to be bars, restaurants, conference space, other amenities, and then there will be 700 rooms above that. It's supposed to be done and open in October. In downtown Salt Lake City, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
There are a lot of places that just aren't sure what's going to happen.
Plans to deal with the drought are getting sped up along the Colorado River.
He was rear-ended by an incident management truck on I-15.
Unbelievable to me that vehicles that are out there to control incidents is traveling at that kind of speed.
But he's the one who got the ticket. What he says happened and why police are taking another look.
A Navajo man is pedaling 400 miles from here to northern Arizona. How he hopes his journey will help Native American families.
It's a critical Game 5 between the Jazz and Mavericks coming up. I'll have the highlights from Dallas.
We're in a world of hurt right now.
In Utah's drought emergency, some parts of the state may come up short on water this year.
Meanwhile, plans are being advanced for the mighty Colorado River to keep water flowing into Lake Powell.
Fox 13 News political reporter Ben Winslow has more.
Planning for the future.
Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson met with members of the Strawberry Water Users Association, stressing the need for conservation.
We're trying to put bigger plans in place for long-term water conservation and water development here in the state of Utah. But right now it's critical that people make sure that they're not overwatering their lawns, that they're taking advantage of the turf buyback program, that they're doing their part on an individual basis to conserve water.
The Lieutenant Governor says reservoir levels are only about 58% full.
It's worse than it was going into it last year. So there are a lot of places that just aren't sure what's going to happen when their reservoirs run dry.
Utah has declared a new state of emergency for drought. A plan for the Colorado River is being fast-tracked, with numerous states agreeing to release more water from Flaming Gorge in an effort to prop up Lake Powell.
The forecast now projects about a 70% runoff into Lake Powell. Last year, that runoff ended up being about 30%. So we should be better this year, but there's still concern about the long-term elevations in Powell, and that's why this action was taken.
Flaming Gorge will drop about 15 feet. The U.S. Department of Interior will also slow the release of water from Lake Powell, holding back some. The move keeps it generating electricity for millions of people.
About a year from now, there could be 1 million acre feet in Lake Powell that otherwise wouldn't be there.
Gene Shawcroft, who also oversees the Central Utah Water Conservancy District, says they've sold water to the nearby Weber Basin Water Conservancy District. Conditions are bad for the 5 counties Weber Basin serves. People are being asked to cut indoor water use by 10%.
There's a connection, a physical connection between the Weber River and the Provo River.
Agriculture producers will also have to make do with less, so may residents.
We want everyone to do everything they can to cut back.
This year, the Utah State Legislature approved spending millions in incentives for agriculture producers and residents to switch to more water conservation measures. To find out how you can get in on it, check with your local water district. At Deer Creek Reservoir, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
And it's not just in Colorado. The drought in Utah is impacting fisheries around the state. So the Division of Wildlife Resources is restocking fish. The division says it is determining where to restock to reduce or eliminate the number of fish in places where lower water levels exist. The DWR says the object is to move fish populations around.
We're taking fish out of some of our waters where we got some concerns about low water levels this summer and moving them into other waters where we're less concerned about low water levels.
The division says low water has low oxygen levels and higher temperatures, which both can kill fish. The division is considering which type of fish species to restock, as well as buying water rights for drought-impacted fisheries.
A South Jordan man still recovering tonight after his car full of volunteers was rear-ended by a UDOT incident management truck last week. But the man was cited despite being rear-ended.
Fox 13 News reporter Eliana Sheriff explains why police are now reopening the investigation.
Unbelievable to me that vehicles that are out there to control incidents is traveling at that kind of speed and causing another incident. I assume he's going somewhere for something that's gone on.
When you see flashing lights, it's common knowledge you're supposed to move over for emergency vehicles. But Theron Anderson, who was traveling with a group of volunteers last Wednesday on I-15, says they didn't have time to react before an incident management truck rear-ended them while on their way to a meeting. They were exiting I-15 north to get on exit 305 toward West Valley when
we were just slammed, just hit so hard.
Theron says an Apple Watch he just received as a gift came in handy as it automatically called 911 and emergency contacts in his phone after detecting the crash.
Hearing aids flew off, hit something up front, bounced back under the driver's seat. My phone flew to the back. My glasses flew forward somewhere.
A witness who was behind the crash stayed on scene and shared this dash cam video. Now, it's hard to see the exact moment of impact, but you can see the incident management truck switching lanes to get off on the exit, and you can see the Ford Explorer Theron was in spin after the impact. However, South Salt Lake police cited the driver of the carpool that was rear-ended for failing to yield to an emergency vehicle. Theron says he believes they had no time to react and argues the driver of the incident management truck was speeding and should be the one cited.
I would hope that UDOT and incident management already have procedures in place that prevent this kind of thing from happening.
I reached out to UDOT for comment. They say that this incident is still under review. In West Valley City, Eliana Sheriff, Fox 13 News, Utah.
We're getting our first look at video of the middle of a police chase in Weber County involving a domestic violence suspect. This happened last Thursday. Roy police say Stephen Moulter led them on a chase through 3 cities at speeds of more than 100 miles an hour. Police say it started with a fight between Moulter and his wife at their home in Roy. During that fight, police say he took out a gun and pushed a 14-year-old down the stairs. When police caught up with him, he fled, and officers eventually ended the pursuit because it just got too dangerous. UHP troopers found Moulter sometime after that and arrested him. He's facing several charges.
A BYU graduate used her final moments as a student to make a colorful statement while accepting her diploma. As Jillian Orr walked across the stage during Friday's graduation ceremony, she opened her gown to this. She flashed a rainbow pride color that her sister had sewn into the lining of her graduation robe, all in protest of the school's policies on same-sex relationships. And while she says her experience at BYU was mostly positive, Orr also says those policies are a major source of anxiety for LGBTQ students.
It was scary. It was always scary. I didn't want people to know. I knew people who potentially could turn me in. And I did this knowing I could lose my degree because I wanted to be seen, and I wanted those who were going through what I went to be seen as well.
or received her physical diploma back in January. So far, no one from BYU has contacted Jillian about her actions during the ceremony, and BYU has declined Fox 13 News requests for comment.
Coming up, a new COVID therapy for children, even infants. What the FDA says will help the youngest victims of the virus.
And a 400-mile bike ride, all to serve a cause. We'll show you how this Utahn is going the distance to bring a much-needed necessity to the Navajo Nation.
And it was a really nice start to the week today. Tonight, we're going to have partly cloudy sky for northern Utah and a couple of storms in the forecast. The timing and if you'll see any impacts in the forecast.
Now to big national news this evening. Twitter announced this afternoon it is selling the company to Elon Musk for about $44 billion.
The news comes 11 days after the Tesla and SpaceX CEO shocked the industry by offering to buy the social media giant. Less than a month ago, Musk revealed he had taken a more than 9% stake in the company. The deal will put the world's richest man in charge of one of the world's most influential social media platforms. Musk tweeted today that he hopes his biggest critics stay on the platform to help bolster free speech.
A mistake during jury selection now forcing a Florida judge to restart the death penalty sentencing trial of Parkland school shooter Nicholas Cruz. The jury will ultimately help decide the fate of Cruz, who faces the death penalty for the 2018 Valentine's Day shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. Cruz pleaded guilty to 17 counts of murder and 17 counts of attempted murder back in October.
There's a new weapon approved to fight COVID in small children. The FDA has approved remdesivir to treat patients as young as 28 days old. The antiviral drug is given as an injection. It was previously approved for patients 12 years of age and older. The action makes it the first drug approved to treat COVID in children younger than 12. To receive remdesivir, infected children must either already be hospitalized or be deemed to be high risk for developing severe COVID.
Two California Starbucks stores now holding union votes. Voting at the Long Beach locations started today. Starbucks Workers United, as they call it, say more than 24 stores have already joined its union. At least 200 others are starting the process. Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz has said union organizing tends to breed conflict, division, and dissension. He says that does not benefit the company or its partners. Results will be tallied on May 13th.
Last week, Garth Brooks called his upcoming concert in Utah a party that he's bringing back to the state this summer. Today, a big announcement for anyone still looking to get into the show. We'll tell you more next.
The Brooklyn Nets, favorites to win the NBA championship when the season began, but they were trying to avoid being swept out of the first round of the playoffs. And Game 5 between the Jazz and Mavericks, the series tied at 2 games apiece. This one's not good. The highlights are on the way.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much. Happy you can join us for Fox 13 News at 9. Utah's Weather Authority, Allison Krogan, she will have your full forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Last week of April, here we are already.
Yeah, here we are. Well, a photographer from the Navajo Reservation is riding his bicycle 400 miles to raise money for Native American families.
Quite the bike ride.
Yeah.
As Fox 13 News reporter Chris Arnold shows us, he hopes to bring solar power to Native American homes.
It's just such a great blessing to be able to help somebody.
Milo Fowler is doing just that on 2 wheels with one of his good friends right by his side.
My really great friend, Josh Jorgensen. And we're biking from here in Utah all the way down to our homestead in northern Arizona. We've hit some hills. We've already had a flat, and we've got some really big climbs.
This is all a part of Heart of America's Skip the Grid initiative, aimed at bringing power to Native American homes.
Our goal is to raise $50,000, and all of those funds will be used to power more homes later this fall. And typically that will help us power about 50 more homes.
Fowler says he's been doing this since 2015 and has helped bring power to more than 400 homes with the help of generous donations. According to numbers from Heart of America, an estimated 14% of Native American families are without reliable access to power. That means families across large areas of both Utah and Arizona are unable to safely power devices or refrigerate their food.
If you don't have power, then you probably don't have the internet. But these are things that certainly can keep children behind and possibly even fall even further behind in education. So our goal is to minimize that gap and provide solar power for them.
Fowler says he's hoping his ride will have an immediate impact on families who need it the most.
A mom, a dad, or a kid pushes a button and boom, their home illuminates, and that does a lot for their house, what they can see.
Fowler says his goal is to reach that 400-mile mark by Friday, meaning he'll have to pedal about 80 to 100 miles a day to reach the Page area by then. It's something he says he's looking forward to because Friday also marks his 40th birthday. In Orem, Chris Arnold, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Okay, so if you weren't able to snag a ticket for Garth Brooks' concert in Salt Lake City this coming June, guess what? You're going to have another chance.
I'm so happy.
Bob?
All my friends in low places will get another chance. He just announced another show at Rice-Eccles Stadium on the eve of his June 18th show. That original show quickly sold out, as it does every time he comes. Tickets for this year's additional performance set for for June 17th at 7 p.m. at Rice-Eccles Stadium. Those tickets go on sale at 10 a.m. on Friday. Good luck, everybody.
Well, it was a really pretty sunset that we had here across northern Utah tonight, thanks to the clouds that have moved in. So West Jordan this evening, fantastic picture coming in from Chris Anderson. Thanks so much for posting that to our Facebook group. Here's what I'm watching for all of you. We're going to be warming up tomorrow. So if you didn't have a chance to enjoy today, tomorrow will be warmer, but it's going to be breezy during the afternoon hours, and we're going to see additional clouds. Then we're going to see a stronger storm possible Thursday night into Friday. Before then, we're going to have a series of some weak systems brushing by, and then we're going to have cooler temperatures briefly on Friday, and then we're going to warm back up for the weekend, and it will be nice. But for tomorrow morning, when you wake up, mostly cloudy sky early in the morning at 6 a.m., and temperatures will drop into the 40s briefly overnight. Most of your morning will be spent in the 50s here in Salt Lake City and for other places here along the Wasatch Front. So Lehigh, Harriman, Tooele, Stansbury Park, Layton, Kaysville, Ogden, Brigham City, Logan, Smithfield, down towards Lehigh, Orem, Provo, Eureka, Fairfield, up towards Heber. We do have partly cloudy sky right now. And then for southern Utah, a little breezy Kanab into lower Washington County, but we're really going to see that wind ramping up into tomorrow. But tomorrow afternoon, we're going to end up with temperatures comfortable in the 70s after a cool start at 7 a.m. So 7 a.m. near 40 degrees for Provo, Eagle Mountain, and Tooele on the higher end of the 40s. Same thing for Salt Lake and Ogden. Price tomorrow morning at 37, St. George 52. Forecast at a glance for tomorrow: Salt Lake 73, Ogden 71, Provo 70, into central and southern Utah, Cedar City 72, Richfield 73, and St. George tomorrow 84. And for eastern Utah, the Uinta Basin close to 70, 70 for Price, and for Moab 80 degrees. So for futurecast into tomorrow afternoon, the chance for some spotty light showers. Nothing that's going to be too impactful, but it will be a little breezy, about 10 to 25 miles per hour tomorrow afternoon. Then by Wednesday at 10 a.m., same thing. We've got a couple of weak systems brushing by, chance for a few isolated spotty showers near the Idaho border Wednesday morning. And then our better chance for a little bit of a stronger storm to move through will be Thursday night into Friday, and we could see some mountain snowfall that could cause some slick conditions at times for our higher passes. But our rain projection over the next 7 days, most of the rain will be off to our northeast, but here across Utah, what you're seeing in green, that is about 1/10 of an inch of rain north of I-70. For St. George, your windiest day Thursday, some fire concerns there, 78 for Friday, and then back into the mid-80s by Sunday. Here in Salt Lake City, our temperatures will be in the 70s Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and by Friday, mid-50s, back into the 60s by Saturday.
Tonight's Game 5 between the Jazz and Mavericks, with their first-round playoff series tied at 2 games apiece. Historically, when a series is tied 2-2, the winner of Game 5 advances to the next round 82% of the time. So it's a crucial game tonight. Jazz hoping to carry over some of the momentum they gained in the winning Game 4. Donovan Mitchell spins here, scores it, then takes out a few photographers. Everyone would be okay. Jordan Clarkson doing his best to keep the Jazz in it. Tough shot in the paint. That's pretty. The shot goes in by JC later in the second half. Luka Doncic takes it at Rudy Gobert. Ball fake, then just throws it up over his shoulder. Score it. They led it by 16 at the half. The Jazz tried to battle back in the third. Mike Conley to Gobert for the throwdown. Nice play there. But the Mavericks stretched their lead. It's Jalen Brunson, corner three. That put the Mavs up by 22. Then Doncic hit back-to-back threes, drops in the first one, and then he does it again in the same spot. Mavericks were rolling. They lead it by 24 in the fourth, so it looks like they'll have a 3-2 lead going into Game 6 Thursday in Salt Lake City. In the East, the Celtics had a chance to sweep the Nets for a win with a winning Game 4. Jaylen Brown to the rim. He had 22 for Boston. Here's another Celtics break in the fourth quarter. Jason Tatum throws it down. He had 29. The Celtics won it 116-112, sweeping the Nets out of the playoffs. The Raptors needed a win over the 76ers in Game 5 in Philadelphia to avoid elimination. And Toronto played well. Pascal Siakam takes it in for 2 of his 23. Then it's OG Anunoby. The Raptors won it 103-88. The Sixers lead the series 3-2. NFL draft this week with the first round on Thursday. The top local prospect is Utah linebacker Devin Lloyd. He's projected as a first-round pick after putting off the draft last year to play one more season with the Utes. Kyle Whittingham will be with Devin at the draft.
They invite, I guess, 20 or 21 guys to the draft to be there in person, and Devin has invited myself and Colton Swan, his position coach, to come down, so we'll be with Devin down in Las Vegas. Remember, we had the conversation this time last year, everything he laid out as the reasons he was coming back, what he wanted to accomplish, what his goals were, and he checked every box. And to see that come to fruition and have him be positioned right now where he is in the draft has been a real testament to him and who he is as a person and a competitor. You talk about a guy that had a vision, had a plan, and followed it to a T. That's Devin Lloyd.
It's getting physical in that Jazz Mavericks game. Hassan Whiteside just got ejected for pushing a few guys after putting Luka Doncic to the floor. So we'll see Game 6 Thursday in Salt Lake City.
The Jazz are fighting for it. They've got heart, man. It's just the Mavericks. They're tough.
They're tough. They're good.
Team.
They're good. Yep.
Thanks, Jeff.
We'll be right back. Thanks for being part of Fox 13 News at 9.
Stick around for Quick Cast next.